Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda and this is Birch and Lily, where I talk about all of the knitting and cross stitch that I have been up to over the past little while. Today I'm going to be showing you a couple different things. How to start your cross stitch with a normal start. I don't know what the fancy name is for it, I just call it normal. I guess maybe with a long tail. I'm also going to show you a loop start, and I'm going to show you how to start with a pin stitch. I'm going to be showing this all to you on a 28 count even weave. If you wanted to start on Aida, I will try and pop actually right up on the screen right now some little diagrams on how you start on both linen and Aida. And hopefully that will give you a little bit of an idea, because working on an even weave, you actually work over 2 threads on the fabric, and working over Aida, you work over 1. So hopefully the diagrams that I popped up on the screen help you out. And I'm going to zoom in my camera and we'll get started. Okay, so I'm going to start with a loop start. If you are interested in finding out where to start on your fabric, or how to pull a strand of floss off of a tag, I do have a video for that, and I will make sure that is linked down below for you. But I'm going to jump into this assuming that you do know how to do that, and assuming that you know your starting point based off of the photos that I have placed in the beginning of this video. So I have my strand of floss here. For a loop start, you definitely want a longer strand, because you're going to fold it in half so that you are stitching with 2 strands. So I've taken my big long tail here. Here's the beginning and the end of it. I pinch those together, and there. And you have a loop on this end. So what you're going to do is take these 2 ends here and thread those through your needle. And I am a licker, so I apologize in advance. And I'm using a 28 needle, which is probably too small, but that is all I have handy. Okay, so I have pulled it through. Now you have your end here with those 2 tails, and then you have your end with the loop. This is the end that you're going to be stitching with, and this end is basically, as you stitch, just going to keep pulling through the needle. So to do a loop start, you're going to find where you want to start on your fabric here. Now this is fun trying to do this through a camera. Okay, so I found my starting point. I've poked my needle through. I'm going to pull it a little bit. Now I'm going to find where I want to go down. Now since I'm stitching on an even weave, I do skip a hole. So I found where I'm going to go down. I'm going to flip my project over, hold down this loop just so I don't accidentally pull everything through too far, and pull through until I feel it tighten. Then I'm going to take my needle here and poke it through that loop and pull everything tight. And your stitch is anchored. So now you are able to continue stitching without any worry of your floss pulling through the fabric. So I'll do, if I can, sorry, this is really awkward. If I can do a couple more stitches for you. Usually I will do the sewing method. Eventually I would like to get a video up for you guys on how I do the sewing method, but for now I'll just do stick and stab so that it's easier to show you what I am doing. So let's say I am now finished with this color. I've done the amount of stitches that I need and I'm ready to end it. This is going to be the same for literally any type of start, unless you're doing the pin stitch, but to be honest, I don't like the pin stitch end, so I'm not going to show it. But, so I have my 4 stitches on the front. All you're going to do is flip your work over. You're going to take your needle and you're going to weave it under all of these stitches. Usually I will say you want to go under like 4 to 5 stitches and that should be enough. Pull that tight. You can cut it and you are done. Those stitches are not going to go anywhere. So that is a loop start. Let's move on to what I would call a regular start. So once again, you're going to find your starting spot. You're going to come up from the back side of the fabric, pull a little bit, but not too far, and right away you're going to flip this over and pull until you've got maybe an inch long tail, and you're going to hold that down with your finger so that it does not move. Next, as you're holding that end, you're going to go down where you normally would go down. Pull the needle through. You're still holding on to that end there. Then I will come up, but I don't usually pull my needle through more than a teeny tiny bit. Flip your work back over. You're going to find your little tail end and make sure that it is caught underneath that loop that you've created from going back up. Grab your needle on the other side and pull it tight. So now your end is caught under one loop. You're going to continue to do that for about 4 or 5 stitches worth. So I'm going to go down again and finish off this X. I'm going to come back up, go down again, and now we're going to get ready to catch that end again. So I'm going to poke my needle up, only pull it a little bit, flip over, make sure that that little tail end, which I keep not showing on the camera, that little tail end is caught in between the loop that you created. Grab your needle and pull it tight. You've caught it a second time. Let's do that again. I'm going to come up, down, back up, but don't pull it all the way through. Flip it over. Make sure that your little tail is caught in between this loop here and pull it tight. Okay, so I'm going to finish off this stitch and then I will show you what to do with your ends once again. So we're going to flip our project over. I am done with this color, so I'm just going to weave these ends back in under at least 4 to 5 stitches on my project. Pull it tight. And obviously you have a little tail right here and a tail right here. We're going to cut both of those short because they can show through on the front of your project sometimes. So as short as we can possibly get them so that there's less chance of them showing through on the front. We've got our loop start and our normal start. Now I will show you the pin stitch. This is my absolute favorite because I find it uses a lot less floss and it actually works from the front, so I don't have to flip over my work, which is quite convenient for me because I am a person who does the sewing method and I stitch in hand. So again, going to find our starting point. Apologies. But as we're working on an even weave. This is possible on Aida, but you will have to make your own holes. So I would recommend doing the pin stitch only on an even weave. So this is where I normally would have started. I'm going to go up one stitch and over to where the middle of my X would be. I'm going to poke my needle down through that hole. I'm going to pull it enough that I have a little bit of an end here. I'm going to leave this long just for demonstration purposes. Usually I would do this a lot shorter. So now I'm holding that little end. I'm going to go up in the hole directly to the right of where I went down. Pull that up and tight. Then I'm going to go down in that hole that I originally went down in, so one to the left of where we just came up, and pull it tight. Now we're going to come up in the stitch directly to the left of the middle one there, where we just went down. Pull that up again. And finally, we're going right back down in the middle again. And we're going to pull that tight. So, this stitch is held. If I yank on this, it's not going anywhere. What I'm going to do is take this little tail end. I don't have my embroidery scissors on me right now, so I'm not sure how well this will cut it. But you want to cut as close to the fabric as you can without accidentally cutting the little, I wouldn't call it a knot, but without accidentally cutting what you just created. And it's still nice and tight. So then all you would do is start stitching as you normally would, but you want to start over top of that little knot type thing you created. So there's my first stitch, and it's totally hidden. You can't see what we did at all. And then you would continue just as we did with the other two stitches I showed you, and weave in the ends when you're done with that color. I will show you the pin stitch one more time, so let me just get set up for that, and we will do that. Okay. Round 2 of the pin stitch. We're going to find on our fabric where we want to start. So let's say I want to start right here, but we're not going to go down in that hole. We're going to go up one hole, over one hole to exactly where the middle of that stitch would technically be. We're going to pull that down, but not all the way through. You want to catch your tail. And now we're going to come up in the hole directly to the right of where we went down. Apologies for my dog. Then we're going to go down in the hole we originally went down in. Up in the hole directly to the left of where we just went down. And right back down in the middle one more time. I am not sure what she's barking at, probably a deer. So now this strand of floss is completely anchored. I can pull on it as much as I want and it's not going anywhere. I'm going to cut this tail as close as I can to the fabric without cutting what I just did. And look at that, I just cut what I just did. So that's a real good example of what not to do. It's still holding it. How convenient. Anyways, pretend I did not do that. And we're just going to start stitching as normal. Now, if you did accidentally cut that, normally I would redo the pin stitch because it's just not going to be as stable as you would like. But for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to leave it because this is all going to come out of the fabric when I'm done. But once again, that leaves you with a totally hidden start And there's no ends, extra ends on the back. Ignore that one because that was from my previous pin stitch that I did not weave in. But there we go. Hopefully that helped you out a little bit. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me down below in the comments, and I'd love to try and help you out. If I did help you though today, or if you learned something new, please consider subscribing and liking this video. It does help me out a lot on my channel, and I will see you all next time. Bye!